Erin.
Hi, Josie.
So I love when people write in to ask things. This is where I learn the most. I feel like when people write in asking about why you made certain decisions that you've made in
Okay.
Erin's for Erin's faces,
Oh,
because we
I was
took.
like, in life? What are we talking about?
Well, I will be the first to
Got it.
say if anybody needs life advice, Erin doesn't want me to say. You should email Erin because she's an amazing life coach. Both my husband and I have both said
Very
multiple
nice.
times, I heard Erin's voice in my head. It's every day for me. So
That's really nice,
please
Josie.
don't
Thank
email
you.
Erin asking for life advice. You can email me, and then if I think she can solve your problem, I'll pass you on. I can filter those. But in this case, Lee from Norman, Oklahoma has a really amazing question. She wants to know,
Okay.
how did you decide to use glass for so many of your makeup products?
Oh, okay. That's a good question.
Because it's unusual. I love it because it's fancy. It seems fancy, and like
It does
you have
feel
your own
fancy.
apothecary on the top of your toilet seat.
Yeah.
It's a dark place, but now it's beautiful. Yeah, it's nice. It
Oh,
has a nice
yeah.
weight.
Yeah, it does feel really good. It's funny. The first item that we started with was our Radiant Firming Concealer, and our previous concealer had been in aluminum. And so I assumed that we would do that again, but we had been working with someone who basically allowed us to buy at a lower quantity. And then they stopped making that product and it just didn't work. So we had to literally find a new place, everything new. And so when I started, this is the honest truth. When I started to source aluminum tubes, which I liked very much because they feel good, they're also very recyclable. So I liked that. It's called an MOQ. The minimum order quantity was the lowest we could find was 15,000 pieces. Most of them were 25,000 pieces. And for our line, I would love to say that we are just selling 25 to 50, 15 to 25,000 pieces of stuff on the regular. We're just not that big. And so I tried to get them to take it down. And it just didn't work and they wouldn't do it. Like nobody in the world literally would do it, literally in the world. So, and it just didn't seem like a wise thing to do to buy it anyway and just sit on thousands of pieces that we wouldn't necessarily fill. I reached out to a local packaging company and they were showing me all these plastic things and I just didn't even think it would be any different. Like I didn't think we had any other alternatives. And then I saw this glass tube in his kit. He had come to visit us and he had this glass tube in his little satchel thing. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, oh, that's for like perfume roller ball things, and stuff like that. And I was like, what? It has a screw top. I think I have my mascara here. Okay. So it has a screw top, you know, because generally a roller ball will just fit right in there, right? Like you fit a thing that has a roller ball in it and then you put a cap on and it's done. And so I my wheels started turning because concealers you go through them, like people rebuy concealers pretty often. And then we decided to put our mascara in the same component. You go through your mascara every 3 months. So that's a lot of plastic. And a lot of small plastic isn't recyclable, isn't recycled or isn't recyclable. So anyway, so I was like, could we do this? Like, is this possible? And he said, we've never done that before, but we can see. And so they were like, so we did. I'm laughing because I'm thinking fast forward to when I told him I wanted to do our mascara. And he was like, we have one mascara wand. And I was like, I hate that one. I need to see so many more. And so I was kind of high maintenance and asked for like 30 mascara wand options and then found the one that I liked. But I really liked that you could see the color. I thought that was really fun. I don't think it's necessary. Our new foundation that we're working on, you can't see the color necessarily. So, but I thought it was fun. It's really good for our lip glosses. I think they look really pretty in it. And I like that it makes our line look really consistent. And I like that we're able to use this one component, and it is recyclable. Everybody takes glass, and clear glass. Not every color of glass will they take. And so they'll take clear glass. And with the powder, we ended up going with a powder coat, which was their recommendation to us. If I wanted something that had a little bit of texture, it's a very long answer, but I loved, like, Living Proof has these bottles. It's a hair care company, and they feel really like good. And that's because they have a plastic coating on them that just has this really nice texture. And so I wanted something that felt textury for this bottle in particular, because no one wants to look at, this is the, if you're listening to us on the podcast, this is the black mascara, right? So nobody wants to look at a thing of black goop in a clear thing. That's not pretty. So I knew I wanted it to be white. So we looked at some, they dip it basically and dye it that way. And it just didn't give the opacity, and it didn't have the feel. So he actually recommended powder coating. And the cool thing about that is when you recycle glass, it's melted, and powder coat disintegrates at a lower temperature than glass is recycled at. So this just literally disintegrates, and then you've got the glass, and then it's all fine. So I would say lack of resources and then resourcefulness and inspiration are the short answer as to what had us do glass. And then I was like, what can we put in this component which will keep us out of plastic stuff, because we still can't do aluminum. Do you know what I mean? We're just not there. So yeah. So if it'll fit in here, we're doing it. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And we've talked a lot about the concealer and the glass. I love, because there's nothing worse than like having a 10 a.m. Zoom audition. It's 9:55. You go to put your concealer on, and there's like none left. So then you have to cut it and like get your finger in the thing. But like with glass, I'm like, oh, I'm working towards the end.
See it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting. My favorite, I am transfixed by these conversations that we have, because I don't think a whole lot of people take, and why would they? Because they don't need to worry about it. That's what you do for a living. But like, I think people think a lot of companies make decisions based on aesthetic, and sometimes it really comes down to the size of your company and what's available for you, and how in the investment up front versus, so I just think I find the whole thing fascinating about, I've learned so much from you about bottles and where they're made, and ethically sourcing them, and will that company work with you? I mean, it's a whole thing.
Well, and that's another really fun thing about these. I don't have a clear one down here, but they're made in Italy. Like, it's like beautiful. Like, you hear Italian glass. I don't even talk about that because I feel like it's like a side benefit, but they are beautifully made, and they're what's called a heavy bottom. And if I had a clear one, I could show you. But if you look at our website, you'll see that there's this kind of glass part that has no color in it at the bottom, right? It's called a heavy bottom vial, tube, whatever. And the reason that I chose that one over like just a normal glass thing that it ends is I know people are going to drop stuff, right? Because we hear people and they're like, I'm really nervous about the glass. Is it going to break? I'm not going to tell you it's never going to break, because you can literally break plastic. Like, you can break anything, right? If you drop it and it hits just right. But heavy bottom glass will, gravity wise, if it's falling this way, it's heavy. So it'll turn so that the heavy part is at the bottom, and that's what hits the ground, and that's thicker. So that has more ability to take impact because it's made in Italy and it's beautiful, so it's beautiful, but it's also really practical in terms of glass. So I mean, I can talk about it for a really long time.
I know you can. I'm just transfixed. I love it. I hope people find it as interesting as I do. I mean, clearly
we'll find out.
Lee does.
Someone cared. Yes, Lee in Oklahoma. Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, Lee, ask more questions because I'm ready. I'm ready. Well,
thank you for asking. I I like sharing about it because I agree. I don't think people think about it, not because they're bad people, but because it's just not something we think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
manufacturing.
Yeah.
It's super exciting, guys. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Let me try that again. Stay safe, everybody. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
all soon. Bye bye.
Bye.